Nick Rudder from McKee's37.com. It's a beautiful July afternoon in Stuart, Florida, and today at the Trademark Garage I have a very special Dodge Ram. Come on in and take a look. Now, Dodge Ram, or simply Ram as they're now called, these trucks are a dime a dozen. However, this one is not. This is the Ram SRT-10, which, as you can see, features the V10 505 cubic inch Viper engine. This is a 2005 model. It's got about 29,000 miles on it. It's a rare single cab model. It has the 6-speed manual transmission, which is also very rare. And what I wanted to showcase is our engine cleaning kit, because if you're anything like me, you spend a lot of time making your paint perfect, your wheels, your interior, your tires, your glass, but you're always a little trepidatious about cleaning your engine. There's some apprehension that you might cause damage. So what better vehicle to show you how to detail an engine than a very rare Dodge pickup truck with an expensive V10 engine that doesn't belong to me. So check this out. I'm going to showcase our engine detailing kit, which is an all-inclusive kit that includes our engine degreaser, which is going to safely clean the engine components, whether it's metal or plastic or rubber. Then to protect it afterwards, we have our trim detailer. This will beautify and enhance all the plastic trim, the rubber hoses, make it look beautiful. The kit also includes a real nice detail brush, a handful of microfiber towels, and some gloves. And you might be wondering, where's my hose? Well, I'm not going to use a hose to clean this engine bay. That's what's unique about this kit, and that's also what makes this kit a lot safer than using something like an industrial strength gallon of degreaser you buy at the local auto parts store and then flushing your engine down with water. We're not going to do that, especially on a vehicle that's not mine. So first and foremost, the engine should not be hot, all right? And what I start out with is I'm going to blow out loose dirt and debris with our turbo car dryer. That'll take me a second. And it's not as much of an issue in Florida, but if you live up north, you're going to have trees and leaves and stuff that are going to be inside various cracks and crevices, so it's nice to just blow it out first. So starting with engine degreaser, again, the engine is not hot to the touch. This product, it does not contain any butyl ethers. It's acid free. Believe it or not, it doesn't smell bad. Like all of our chemicals, it's safe, it's surface friendly, and it works well. So I'm going to saturate all the various components. And like I mentioned, engine degreaser doesn't smell bad. Now you got to be really careful what you use to clean an engine like this, especially on these cast parts like this intake manifold, because if you use the wrong product, you can stain the surface. Now check that out. It's already melting the grease just on contact from spraying it on. And I'm not really working in a well-ventilated area, and you can tell that I'm not coughing or choking. And for sensitive, delicate surfaces like these painted valve covers, again, you can clean it with confidence. So I'm going to get all the hoses. And you'll notice that I'm not using a ton of product. Look at that, V10 505. Isn't that cool? Here, and this looks like a secondary battery tray. That's pretty interesting. And this is what I like to call a big picture detail. I'm not going to go hardcore and get way down in all the cracks and crevices. This is going to be primarily cosmetic. It's going to look better overall. And now, this is also really a common dirty part right up here. I think that's looks like the clutch master cylinder. Might be the brake booster, I don't know. All right. I think I got just about all of it for the most part. And the next what I'm going to do is take my detail brush which the kit includes. I'm going to spray some cleaner in the brush. I'm simply going to agitate. It's going to help break up and release the grime and the grease. I didn't saturate the battery. I don't really like to. So I'm just going to clean it with the brush instead. Applying more to my brush as needed. Yeah, this is going to clean up nicely. And there's some spots where I'm simply not tall enough to reach, relying on the cleaner. I could probably climb up in there, but I doubt the owner would want me to. We also carry other brushes that would reach back in here farther, but I just wanted to showcase what comes in this kit. So I actually find this really therapeutic. To be honest with you, the first few times I did it this way, I did find it kind of nerve-wracking because, again, you're cleaning the engine, arguably the most expensive part of the vehicle, especially when it's a car that's not yours. The last thing you want to happen is for you to try and start the vehicle afterwards and not have it turn on. So that would be an issue that we want to avoid. And I'll tell you what, kudos to Dodge for putting such a monster motor in this truck. You know, Dodge is really, or I should say FCA, they're really on a roll with putting their biggest motors, you know, shoehorning supercharged V8s and V10s, and you got the Hellcat, you got the Demon, you've got the Red Eye. They just came out with the new, I think it's called the Super Stock, 797 horsepower. They got the wide body, so they're doing some pretty cool stuff, and everybody else is focusing on hybrids and fuel economy and all this good stuff. So way to go, FCA. And it's worth noting too, the engine degreaser, it's paint safe. Now, it's not something that you want to let dry in the paint by any means, but cleaning up here, there's no issues, nothing to be concerned about. Now, the advantage that this method has over using a hose and saturating the surface with water is that you're not forcing water into areas where it really shouldn't be allowed. Now, it's a common misunderstanding that engine bays in modern cars are sealed off from the elements. Well, that's not true at all. You know, this Ram has, you can see it, it's got like a ram air induction, and there's no kind of water channels. I mean, when you're driving in the rain, the water just comes through. It's going to get the engine wet. You can't really avoid it. But what we do not want to do is use a hose with high pressure and flush water over areas that normally wouldn't go. It's a big engine, it takes a little while. A lot bigger than the 4-cylinder in my GTI. But this is fun. What a great way to spend a Friday. You know, there's so many careers that I could have ended up with, and here I am on a Friday afternoon in Florida, no less, cleaning the engine bay of a Viper-powered Ram and getting paid to do so. I mean, God bless. All glory goes to God. I'm originally from Michigan, so I really appreciate the the fresh, warm air, the ability to go outside year-round and do stuff like this. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so for our big picture detail, I think this is just about sufficient for the cleaning aspect. Now, if this were a customer's vehicle, and if there was an exchange of money, I would be even more thorough, but for this is big picture. It's going to look better overall. All right, now the next step, I've sprayed the engine degreaser all over the engine, as you saw. I've agitated it with a detail brush, and now I'm going to use just tap water, and I'm going to help flush the degreaser off the surface. Turn my sprayer on. And this is just going to help the degreaser be easier to remove. You can see there. Check that out. Look at it cut through that grease and grime. So this is almost taking the place of a hose pretty much. With the difference being I'm using a much, much lower volume of water. And back there where I couldn't reach, this is awesome. Here's your money shot right here. I did not scrub back there at all. And look at that grease and grime just fall off. Big difference. And using the stronger spray setting helps break through it quicker. And then the intake runners here, I think the owner of this Viper powered Ram is going to be quite satisfied. And then for the valve covers, and I'm not trying to rinse completely. What I'm doing is I'm helping flush any excess degreaser, and I'm diluting it, so when I use the towel to dry it and my car dryer, it's much easier to dry. And what I especially like about Engine Degreaser is because we use high quality surfactants and cleaning technology, you don't have to worry about staining cast metal like the intake manifold. I think I might have already mentioned that, but it's worth a second mention, because if you use the wrong product, if you go buy some big jug of driveway degreaser at your local home improvement store, you know, it's $3 or $4 a gallon, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, and you use it on a cast metal like this, it's going to stain it. And it's going to look ugly. So I've sprayed everything down with the water. Now I'm simply going to wipe with my towel. And this makes it even easier to remove the excess degreaser. And I think at some point I probably will have to break to get something to stand on so I can get back in there more thoroughly. And again, the advantage of doing it this way is I'm not flushing all the various components, the sensors, the fuel injectors, the spark plugs. I'm not flushing them with water. All right, so I'm going to take a break. I'm going to finish wiping this down. Stay tuned for part 2. And we're back. So I finished cleaning the rest of the engine bay. I continue my process of using engine degreaser, followed by wetting the surface with water in the spray bottle. And along the way, I grabbed some other tools that are worth mentioning. First and foremost, the easy detail brush. If you remember, I was having a hard time getting back here. Well, with this brush and its flexible bristles, you can really extend your reach and clean in some pretty gnarly places. And we also sell these detailing brushes, and these really came in handy. These little fancy Q-tip for cleaning in between the nuts for the valve cover and some other hard to reach areas. So made a big difference. Now the last step before I protect the engine bay, or the plastic trim that is, I'm going to blow out any excess water, especially from these intake runners with the turbo car dryer. So by using the turbo car dryer, I'm eliminating any excess water, and most importantly, if water has had a chance to pool up in any areas like the fuel injectors or any electrical connections, it's going to blow it out. You don't want to leave those connections saturated with water, which it's minimal at best because we're using a spray bottle versus a hose, but still, it's inexpensive insurance for cleaning the engine bay of a vehicle, a rare vehicle that doesn't belong to you. Now, last but not least in the kit is our trim detailer. This is going to protect, beautify, and enhance all the plastic components. And contrary to what your local buy here, pay here used car lot says, you don't want to coat everything with the trim detailer. We're just going to put a real light mist on. It's not going to have that greasy used car look. It's simply going to enhance the black plastic. Being an aerosol, it's super convenient. You get nice uniform coverage. Shake it up, and I'm just doing a real light mist. It's not going to leave any kind of greasy sheen. I'm going to apply it to all the plastic components and the rubber components. It's going to make it look really nice. So when I give this truck back to my friend Kevin, he's going to be blown away. Here's the vent tube for the valve cover. Protect that. Your radiator hose, your coolant hose. Heck, even the mobile one on the valve cover. Any overspray occurs on cast metal pieces or painted valve covers, it's not going to cause any harm. And best of all, you don't have to wipe. And one more thing you'll notice is the trend with all of our products. I'm using this in close quarters and I'm not coughing or hacking. So, quality chemistry. And this one can will last you a long time. And besides engine bays, you can also use it on your tires. You can use it on, a lot of cars have the black plastic grill where you're never going to get your plastic trim restore applicator pad in there. This is quick and simple. And it makes a big difference too. Just want to make sure I didn't miss a spot. I'm the detail guy after all. Got to represent. And I think I just about got it. So that's the McKee's 37 engine detailing kit. It's a comprehensive kit that even you can clean the engine bay in your garage or in your driveway without any fear of causing permanent damage. Now, one thing I like to do, it's good practice, before you clean your engine bay, talk to someone that knows a lot about cars, or join a Facebook group or a forum for that specific vehicle and ask like, hey, is there anything I need to know? Because more often than not, especially with foreign cars, there's a sensor that's temperamental, or this vehicle has bad seals on the valve covers. So you just want to take a little bit of time, spend 10 minutes and do your research. But otherwise, that's it. I think that we should take this Viper-powered Ram SRT-10 for a drive. That'll be part 3. Take a look at that. That looks killer. All right, here we are in the Ram SRT-10. We just finished cleaning the engine bay. I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope it starts up. Parking brake released, clutch in, key on, and here we go. Runs like a champ. And the responsible thing to do is to take it around the block real quick, just to make sure everything runs and drives real smooth. So this has the, like I said before, the 505 cubic inch Viper V10. It's an overhead valve, good old fashioned American pushrod V8, 2 valves per cylinder. It's got the 6-speed manual, and this truck, it gets it on. Man, does it run great. There's very few opportunities I'll get to drive a truck like this again in the future, because this is pretty rare, especially with the 6-speed, and it's not like they made hundreds of thousands of them like the new truck. So anyway, now the engine, the V10, looks as good as the outside. Thank you for watching. For more information, visit McKee's37.com. Thank you and God bless.